All right, thank you for staying with Daybreak. The State of the Nation discussion starts right now. Let me introduce my guest one more time. Honorable Robert Mbui is here, Kathiani, Member of Parliament and Deputy Minority Leader. Honorable Owen Baya, Member of Parliament for Kilifi North and Deputy Majority Leader. Honorable Joe Nyutu, Senator for Moranga, and Honorable Hilary Sigei, Senator for Bomet. Thank you all for making time. And Honorable Mbui, I'll start with you on this. We can see even on the front page of the Daily Nation, under siege, you can see us talking trouble, a fallout over court judgment that declared opposition chief Raila Odinga's Azimio Coalition majority party in the National Assembly. The Speaker ruled otherwise. Why is this so controversial?
Yeah, thank you, Trevor. First and foremost, I have to say, be careful when you're using the titles here, because I mean, it's still in contention. In our opinion, yeah, we are the majority because that ruling was given by a court of competent jurisdiction of this republic, and them being majority was actually a decision made by the Speaker. So I think basically you have to be careful, because we still feel that that is a title that was stolen from us. But you know, Trevor, the most annoying thing is that after the last election, Azimio had more members of parliament at the ballot than Kenya Kwanza. And when we came to the House, some of the members were coerced and then moved to the other side. But you see, what happens in a democracy is that the decision of the people at the point of the election must account for something. So if you need to move from one side to the other, the most decent thing to do in all democracies around the world is to actually seek fresh mandate, go back to the people, tell them I'm uncomfortable in this coalition or in this political party, and then seek fresh mandate and move. And the people can elect you or not elect you and elect someone else. You remember this happened in Langata a while back when the Right Honorable Raila was Member of Parliament. He disagreed with his party then and decided that he was going to leave the party. And when he left the party, he actually resigned his position, went back to the people and got a fresh mandate. That's the reason why he's one of the most popular politicians in the country. But what is happening now is people are just crossing the aisle without any, without any reference to the people that put them in office. And that's why when the Speaker made the ruling at that time that Kenya Kwanza was a majority party, people went to court. Now the court has made a decision and said, you know what, this was faulted, that it was unconstitutional. And you see, what I find strange is this. Trevor, this is basic common sense. You don't need to be a rocket scientist. If the court says that by appointing Azimio la Umoja as a minority party, that was an error, then automatically it means the correct thing is that Azimio la Umoja was a majority. When the court says that when you appoint the Kenya Kwanza as a majority party, that's an error, that means obviously the opposite is correct. So when it came to when we raised it in the floor of the House, suddenly the Speaker opens up debate, let us hear opinions of everyone. Why would Parliament be discussing a court ruling? The ruling was given, the media had interpreted it, every single person had interpreted it. But suddenly, as usual, Parliament has its own way of doing things. We are taken through some circus of discussions. Some of us were almost not being given opportunity to contribute. When I spoke, the Speaker was actually guiding my thoughts. When I said we are wasting time discussing a court ruling, he says you're taking us back. He wants to control what I say. Because, I mean, it's like there was a predetermined decision all the way before we came to the House. Okay. So basically, I think we are losing the script as a country. We are losing the democratic principles. We should obey court orders, and this is what this regime told us. Unfortunately, they are not obeying court orders. Okay. What was wrong with Azimio la Umoja becoming the majority party, as they are seeking fresh, probably go to court and get a stay, or maybe even appeal the decision. Okay. If they win the decision, then we will abide by it. But now, I think they're being unfair.
Honorable Baya, did the Speaker defy court?
Thank you very much, Trevor. I want to say this at starters, that the doctrine of separation of powers is very important to guide our democracy. And courts, as they have jurisdiction within their silo and, of course, the legislative arm and the executive. The courts will make decisions, but also Parliament or the legislature has its way of operating, and which the courts should not come in and interfere. The courts can look at the rulings that have been made by the Speaker. But then it cannot take away the powers of the Speaker to be the Speaker of the National Assembly. And therefore, what the court did, and it is on record, it quashed the decision of the Speaker, which the Speaker respected. But the court did not deliberately interfere with the role of the Speaker to declare who the majority is and who the minority is in Parliament. It did not do that. Otherwise, if the court wanted to do that, it would have expressly said in its judgment and given orders to the Speaker, which it did not do. It only quashed the decision at that particular, that was made, the ruling that was made at that particular time, but did not go ahead to give direction on what the Speaker needs to do. Neither did it give orders that now the majority is Azimio and the minority is Kenya Kwanza, and that we swap places, that the team that was now in the minority now becomes majority, or the team that was now in the majority becomes minority. The court did not do that. The court had the option of doing that, but because the judges are aware and are informed by the Constitution, they were unable to cross the line to come and perform the functions of the Speaker. And that is the import of what happened yesterday. The Speaker was very clear. Yes, I accept that the court quashed my ruling, but then the court did not interfere with the role of the Speaker. We allow the Speaker to do his job.
But then he made the same ruling that the court quashed.
No. The ruling that the Speaker made yesterday is different from the ruling that he made on that day. Because he looked at the current numbers, and got information from the political parties, register of political parties, and on that basis, even if you look at what was ruled yesterday and what was ruled when we inaugurated the 13th Parliament, significant difference, very significant. The difference is that, you see,
is not the majority.
No, in the ruling, for example, I'll tell you, in the ruling, the first ruling, that the Speaker made, put PA, Chap, UDM, under Kenya Kwanza. That was the first ruling. In the ruling that the Speaker made yesterday, he did not do that. He said these are parties that are not affiliated to any coalition. That is a point of departure completely from what he said in 2022 and what he said in 2025. And therefore, the two rulings are not the same. Secondly, Trevor, I would like to say this. You see, my counterpart here wants to force himself to become
deputy majority
leader. That is what he that is he wants to say that. But if you look at the ruling of the judges, for which I do not want to discuss the judges, but I want to look at the ruling of it, has some factual issues. Some factual issues. For example, even when you do not include PA and Maendeleo Chap, because you say the sovereign will of the people said that Azimio should be majority and the other way. If you look at the issue of the sovereign will, how did PA and Maendeleo Chap and UDM campaign? Where did they campaign? Where did they take their votes at the point of election? Because PA, I remember, and Maendeleo Chap and UDM, we campaigned with them as UDA. We were on the same platform. We went with Kingi to all those political rallies, and Kingi told the people, vote for UDA, vote for President William Ruto. The Minister for Labour now, the Honorable Dr. Mutua, campaigned with us as UDA.
Okay.
The Honorable Robert, the Senator, campaigned with us as UDA and said, vote for William Ruto. So at the point of election, the sovereign will, when it is decided by the people that voted PA MPs, the people that voted Maendeleo Chap MPs, the people that voted UDM MPs were doing it as part of the Kenya Kwanza coalition. Okay. So the sovereign will of the people, when decided at that particular moment, did it for President William Ruto, they did it for the Kenya Kwanza. So these factual errors should not have occurred in a judgment from a 3-judge bench. They should have looked at all that, apart from just looking at where our coalition agreements deposited.
Okay, all right. CA.
Thank you, Trevor. I and Senator Newt are two leaders. Yes. On my immediate right, the minority leader. On the extreme right, the majority leader.
Deputy.
And Deputy Majority Leader, yes, both of them deputies. And by the way, that is, I'm saying that intentionally because I've listened to the Honorable Mbui, I've equally listened to the Honorable Owen Baya. We listened through the going-ons yesterday in Parliament, including the decision of the Honorable Moses Wetangula, and the previous day, equally the experiences that we saw, which spilled over to the Senate, by the way, because we had what I would say, and I wanted to say that what Honorable Mbui is doing and arguing is what we call the backbench power. In a political democracy, he is exercising what is called the backbench power. They have that legitimate right to do so. And so when that happened in the Senate, it was the normal banter also, which lasted for barely an hour or so, and business was normal. Yesterday, we were okay. Why? Because even as we were awaiting for the decision of Moses Wetangula from this aspect, which we are now discussing, members knew that in this scheme of things, the majority party is the Kenya Kwanza coalition. And in his ruling, which the Honorable Baya has ably defended, he didn't need to defend beyond that. Why? Because we have a constitution in Kenya, and we are a parliamentary system. Parliament is independent. Independent from judicial overreach is what I would say, such that the decision of the court that was a subject of the debate the previous day led to the decision yesterday, which I would say the Honorable Speaker made it within the context of three things. Number one, the legitimacy of post-election coalitions. And I was going through the letter that, which I think it's very important for purposes of our viewers, so that we also don't speak, do just mere politics. This is a letter from the Registrar of Political Parties to the Honorable Speaker, which I think informed part of this decision. And the letter is dated 11th of February, 2025. 11th of February 2025, signed by the Registrar of Political Parties. And indeed, it's true that the parties which fall under the last paragraph, this is what she says. This office draw your attention to the following. ANC is in the process of dissolving the party coalition with UDA. 2, Movement for Democracy and Growth, MDG, issued a notice of exit from Azimio, but did not conclude the exit process. And very critical paragraph. As per the date of this letter, the following political parties with representation in the National Assembly are not members of any coalition. Pamoja African Alliance, that's PA, Maendeleo Chap Party, United Democratic Movement, National Ordinary People's Empowerment Union, NOPEU. These are 4 political parties which we are saying, though their ideology, their campaign, and their membership as at now and then, shortly before the elections, were within the Kenya Kwanza coalition, have been left out. And the Honorable Speaker still went ahead and said, look, besides this legitimacy of post or pre-coalition agreements, I will remove this from this list and still have majority in terms of numerical supremacy. We had 165 against 154 after excluding these 4 political parties. And therefore, the Speaker was just saying we have to separate powers. We have the judiciary, which we respect. Their decision is respected and it is honored. But again, whatever I'm doing falls within internal parliamentary affairs, which is a mandate deposited and domiciled purely within the office of the Speaker. And I would say he did the right thing.
All right.
There is also, allow me to just conclude, because there is a decision from the Supreme Court in 2013. The Senate and others versus the Attorney General and others, where in its advisory decision, the Supreme Court affirmed the supremacy of each arm of government, independence of the executive, independence of parliament, and the independence of judiciary, where the courts were saying, look, whatever is within parliament must be dealt with in parliament. This is a parliamentary decision. It is falling within its exclusive jurisdiction, and whatever the Speaker did, therefore, did not in any way dishonor the decision that the courts pronounced the previous day.
All right. Joe, do you agree with the Speaker's ruling on this?
Thank you, Trevor. I think my thinking is quite different from all my co-panelists. Because, Trevor, I think it's not about, for me, it's not even about the ruling that the High Court made. Because in any case, even if the ruling was going to be observed, because it was made based on the facts that prevailed as at the time. Yeah. The Speaker of the National Assembly made the decision as to who was the majority and who was the minority. But looking at the prevailing circumstances in the House, even if that decision was going to be followed, but because of the mischief of Kenya Kwanza, because that is its character, I think it would just rush and make a quick coalition, deposit it with the registrar of political parties, and still remain the majority. And so I think this decision was not going to be binding on Kenya Kwanza because, like I'm saying, it would still have maybe done concocted a quick coalition and deposited it with the registrar of political parties, and of course continued being the majority party. I think what should be in contention, Trevor, is who the minority are. And why do I say this? Because even ODM is working with Kenya Kwanza. So actually what they should do is to take their coalition further, make an agreement, enter into a coalition agreement, ODM, all the other parties, PA, CHAP, UDA, UDM, make a coalition, a supermajority coalition, and then allow those then that will not be in that particular coalition to form the minority. So if you ask me, the contention should be who the minority is, because ODM is working with government. So all those things we saw with the leadership of ODM, I think was just a charade. What they should do is do what, because again, Trevor, I think ODM in particular has not been very honest or sincere with itself, because this is a party working with the government, but taking the leadership of the main oversight committees, like in the case of the Senate, CPAC, while actually working with government, and these particular ones, the leadership is reserved for people that are on the opposing side. So I think what they should do, for me, we should not even argue about this judgment, because Kenya Kwanza anyway will use its mischief to continue being the majority party. Just let me finish, Honorable.
Why do you think Kenya Kwanza is mischievous?
Yeah, I want to say,
because of course, look at how it woos, those that are on the other side. ODM is working with it now. It's the biggest political party on the other side. So, it's mischievous because, Trevor, that brings me to something else. Your question brings me to something else. We need to interrogate ourselves as Kenyans and our political parties and ask ourselves, why is it that the parties only enter into post-election coalitions with the government and not with the opposition? What is the motivation? We must start asking ourselves, what is the motivation? Are there any goodies that government offers to opposition, to the other side of the political divide? Yeah. So that's why I'm saying it's mischief. If we address ourselves to this question, yeah, what motivates people, parties to join just the government side, and it's not just this government, successive governments, yeah, then therein lies the question, lies the answer for the question, yeah, where is the mischief of Kenya Kwanza? But
aren't you part of Kenya Kwanza yourself?
Yes, in paper, yes. But in practice, no, Trevor. And that's why you see my colleague, Hilary CJ, laughing and smiling, because of course, yeah, of course, and although we are going to come to this, yeah, maybe later, yeah, look at the changes in the party leadership. In the committee leadership yesterday.
You were kicked out as the chair.
Of course, not just me. Everybody who's opposed to Rigiji was kicked out. So that's why I'm telling you, yes, I'm in UDA in paper, but in practice, maybe, I'm worse than an ODM member. So, that's the position. And we need to interrogate these things. We need also to interrogate, although we have not brought that matter, because there was another ruling in that particular, another matter in that particular ruling, that the Speaker of the National Assembly is not supposed, or it's not fair for him, or should not continue holding the position of Speaker of the National Assembly and the party leader of Ford Kenya, because there is conflict outrightly, and maybe this is what is motivating his rulings and his directions on this matter of who is the majority, who is the minority, because his party is in Kenya Kwanza. He is an interested party, so you cannot be a fair judge if you have an interest in what you are delivering a judgment about. Okay,
I have to take a quick break, gentlemen. The commercial break right now. We're coming back at the top of the hour to continue this discussion. I'll give you a chance to respond. I know there's a lot that you need to talk about. Keep your views coming at Trevor Mbija at Citizen TV Kenya. Use the hashtag Daybreak. See you in a bit.